You are listening to Single Smart Female, Romantic Fairy Godmama Edition.
This episode was brought to you by the Secret Society of Adored Women.
Have you been tirelessly going on crap-tastic dates, having crap-tastic results with men, even spending a crap-tastic amount of time weeding through meh guys and fretting over the one who won't call you back or commit?
Join us for our Hush Hush group of like-minded, successful, badass single women from around the world, turning the dating scene on its head and creating scandalously magical romantic experiences that you will cherish forevermore.
But beware, your love life and life will never be the same again.
Meet us over at thesecretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com. Howdy, my single smart females. It is Jen, your romantic fairy godmama, with a romantic fairy godmama topic today. The topic is forecasting, the biggest dating failure ever. Okay, so actually, this is one of the biggest dating failures, and it's a really important topic that we need to discuss today and unwind and unravel because it is killing opportunity in your love life as we speak. So, and why am I being so dramatic about this? Okay, because it's a very dramatic topic. It's very dramatic in the fact that it's dramatic in the execution and it's dramatic in the results. So, forecasting. I want to make something clear. The things that you repeat over and over and over in your life are the things that you're going to repeatedly see in your life. So the more you repeat something, you're going to find some version of that in your life. So a lot of women come to me and we work on this idea of forecasting from the get-go. Why? Well, let me tell you exactly what forecasting is. So forecasting is you saying what a man is going to do and how it's going to react or how a situation's going to. We're usually specifically talking about men, but it can be honestly with anything. It's you've decided exactly what's going to happen. And a lot of times women will back this up, which we'll get to in a minute on because it's based on their gut feeling and their instinct. And we're going to talk about that just in a second. So let me tell you what forecasting does. So you think that it's your instinct. Forecasting in a negative manner actually is you setting that up to happen in your life repeatedly. Very important to understand. If you're going to be willing to say it, and I know why we all say it. We say it to protect ourselves because if we prepare ourselves for the worst, then nothing bad can really happen to us. And what you're actually doing is basically calling the worst in. Okay? So again, forecasting negatively, specifically. If you want to forecast positively, I'm totally all about that. And that's what we do a lot of in Secret Society. Forecasting positively is going to bring you big wins in your love life. Forecasting negatively is going to get you a lot of what you say out loud. So when women come to me, especially when we're working privately, it's usually specifically privately, is in order to protect themselves, they start forecasting what's going to happen. They predict what he's going to think, how he's going to react, what his motives are, all that kind of stuff. And the more you do that, and I know why you're doing it because we all do it to protect ourselves, the more you do that, the more you're guaranteeing shitty outcomes in your love life. So I recognize we as women, a lot of us have encountered shitty stuff in our love lives, shitty outcomes previously. But previous shitty outcomes doesn't dictate continued shitty outcomes. So you can be just like me, who when I finally recognized this, I shut my fucking mouth about thinking that I knew everything about what was going to happen in my love life. I took some steps back and then I learned how to interact, engage, and I learned different ideas that set me up to win with men again and again. Now, forecasting is one of the biggest ways we keep ourselves from winning with men. When I mean winning with men, it's a phrase I like to use a lot because we as women, we set them up to fail with us. So whether that's the way we engage with them, the opportunities we give them in our lives, it's how we shut them down, it's what we've decided about them. It's all of these false things that we have decided about them that we really don't know, that we're just guessing, and again, all in order to protect ourselves. And it doesn't work. it doesn't work a lot, which is why so many women hate dating and are trying to rush forward into the relationship thing. And then they're coming out a couple years later calling it a failure of a relationship, because then once they get into the relationship, all they've been practicing is this type of forecasting, negative forecasting, and having some repeated things happen in their love life as well, in their relationship. So let's talk about this idea that a lot of women use that say, well, it was just my gut instinct. And does gut instinct exist? Absolutely. 100%. Gut instinct is a real fucking thing. Problem is most of us have a quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes right now, gut instinct based on jaded perception of men. Okay? Especially if you're a card-carrying feminist. Okay? Nothing wrong with being a card-carrying feminist, but when you have spent oodles and oodles of time researching, looking for examples of how men are horrible to women and toxic masculinity, that is going to jade your gut instinct about men. And this is all stuff I do a lot of unwinding for women when they work with me. Why? Because this shit is insidious and it keeps you from everything you want in your love life. And then even when you find a man who doesn't fit into any of those parameters that you consider toxic, you still will keep searching because you've practiced searching for the wrong for so long. You'll keep searching for what you don't like about him and what he does to offend you and what he does that doesn't work for you, instead of focusing and hyper-focusing on the good stuff. And when I say hyper-focus, I'm only talking about, okay, let me back that up because I know that could be definitely taken out of context. So as you know, I'm a big proponent of not hyper-focusing on a specific man until you get into a relationship. And even then, you have to have your own defined life outside of your relationship, especially as a single, successful woman, in order to not go crazy in the context of a relationship. You need that. So when I say hyper-focus, I'm just using that term. I want you to laser focus on good things about men. Now, that does not mean, by the way, that all of a sudden you're completely blind to something horrific, okay? Let's say if you're in a relationship and you guys are supposed to have a monogamous exclusive relationship, that doesn't mean all of a sudden you are in denial about the fact that he just slept with your best friend, okay? Now, you're not forecasting that shit, like predicting it, oh, it's absolutely happened. I'm talking about actual evidence. You're not dismissing that. Completely different thing. Let's go back to that jaded perception. So all of us as women, we have some phenomenal ability for gut instinct, really phenomenal ability, but you have to rework some of the ideas that you have about men. And you have to start understanding them in a different way. Now, most of us, even card-carrying feminists, they're doing a ton of, especially when they like a guy, they do a ton of research on men, and they're trying to figure out what men want, what men need, what men like, and a whole bunch of bullshit that we think we need to know in order to have successful relationships with men. And as you'll hear from me over and over again, all crap. It's all just pure shit. The more you focus on all of those aspects of men, the more that you lose, and the more you'll get pissed off and jaded, and the more crappy experiences you'll have with him, and then the more gut instincts are telling you, oh, it's going to go wrong, and then the more you're going to forecast it goes wrong, and the more it just keeps going fucking wrong. So I need you to take some steps back from this, and this is going to be another habit that you're going to form, and I really want you to take this and think about this. One of the things I do say a lot is the more good you find in men, the more good men you will find. Again, the more good you find in men, the more good men you will find. All of us are composed of two different pieces of ourselves. There's good and there's not so good. There's some, sneaky, devious pieces. I definitely have that, and I know you definitely have it as well. Men are the same way. Most men would like the opportunity to step up and adore you. But every woman is different. And if you have already decided with your forecasting that he's going to be a complete jackass, then what are you going to get eventually? You're going to get a complete jackass, okay? So as you step into mantourage dating the right way, not the half-ass way, not the, I'm doing it, Jen, I'm doing it, right now I don't have that much time, but I promise maybe at the end of the month, or, it just really wasn't working for me. No, when you really step into this experience and understand the things that you need to know about men, but by the way, there's only really a few of them, and you can get a free class from me called Understanding Men, and you can go to the website explainmen.com, and in there I'll teach you what you really need to know. It's basic stuff. Then you can start to learn to interact with men differently. Then you're going to stop this shit ass habit of forecasting your future failure with men. Anytime you say something shitty about a guy you're dating, that's exactly what you're doing. Remember, I'm not talking about ignoring hardcore fucking evidence. Okay, we're not being dismissive of a real jackass in your life, but you're not making decisions about who he is and what he thinks. You're not his emotional caretaker. And I want us as women to stop doing that and stop pretending like, in order to protect ourselves, that we actually know every single thing that's going through his head and we know exactly how he feels about us at all times. Because the truth is, if you were in a guy's head, you'd be like, what the fuck? Oh my God, this is kind of frightening. I'm just messing about that. But yeah, this one habit will make a significant difference in your love life if you get rid of it. Do not assume, or especially say out loud, that things are going to go to shit. Don't say shit things about him in reference to you, unless those are the things that you really want to draw into your life on a repeated basis. And remember, I get why we're doing it. We're doing it to protect ourselves, because if you can call it out and then it happens, it makes it, you knew it beforehand. That means it doesn't hurt as much. Let's be honest. It hurts regardless when anything negative happens. So don't forecast that shit and make the probability of it happening significantly higher. Take some steps back. Recognize, especially when you come work with me, go to explainmen.com to get the free class on men. But especially when you decide to work with me, I'm going to help you understand that you're living in an amount of fear with men that's not necessary. It's truly not necessary. And there's another way that when you understand, you're going to flip the script with men completely. You're going to have so much more of what you want from men, and you're going to switch the energy where it's about him adoring you and wanting to understand you and figure you out and stepping into new levels with men that you didn't realize how incredibly influential and powerful you are with men. But you're not going to get there if you're always forecasting failure. Okay, lover girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show. Forecasting romantic failure with statements about what he thinks, what he means, what he wants, without first-hand knowledge does absolutely nothing to protect your feelings. It does, however, guarantee a certain level of repeated romantic failure. Thank you, lover girl, for joining us on this Romantic Fairy Godmama edition of Single Smart Female. Don't forget to text this episode to all of your single smart girlfriends, as well as visit us at singlesmartfemale.com.
We'll talk to you next time.
And here's to you having everything you want in life and love. This episode was brought to you by the Secret Society of Adored Women.
Have you been tirelessly going on craptastic dates, having craptastic results with men, even spending a craptastic amount of time weeding through meh guys and fretting over the one who won't call you back or commit?
Join us for our Hush Hush group of like-minded, successful, badass single women from around the world, turning the dating scene on its head and creating scandalously magical romantic experiences that you will cherish forevermore.
But beware, your love life and life will never be the same again.
Meet us over at thesecretsocietyofAdoredWomen.com.